You know, let me just use this as a very extreme example, because I was going to use like a cop pulling me over as an example, but that would just be different because, let's say you get pulled over. A cop could say, "This is just a routine stop, sir. Can I see your license and identification?" And you'd be like, "Routine stop, sir. I'm in a hurry. I need to go. I don't have the time for this. I understand you're doing your job, but I have done nothing wrong, and I'm in a really big hurry." And he'd be like, "Well, it will only take a second." And be like, I'm seriously in a super big hurry. Like, I'm already late." And he's like, "Sir," I'm like, "Officer, honestly, I'm just going to go." And he's like, "I'm going to have to get you to step out of your car, or whatever." And he could get into his whole cop mode and say that he could do whatever. And he'd say, "Sir, I need you to step out of your car and write down your license," something. He'd probably stand in front of your car, do something to be a super cop or some kind of dumbass. But I don't want to get into that. I'll just say, instead, say they just come out to your house and, it was a mistake. Say somebody called, you live out in the county, and somebody called about a house down towards the end of the road, and you're down towards the end of the road on the right side, and it's the house on the left side they were talking about, and they weren't clear in their directions or something. And the cop shows up and says, "I just need to ask you a few questions," and you're like, "Sir, I don't really have any." Or maybe you fit the description of somebody and they come there completely making mistakes, okay? Completely mistaken. And you say to them, like, if it was just me and they happened to be here, that's why this is a hard situation to explain. If it was just me and that happened and I was here being who I am, I would say, "I understand you're doing your job, but at the same time, I will come humbly with you, but I don't need to." I could say, "No, I'm going to sit here, and I don't want to be an asshole and say, 'Make me go with you,' because then they would think you're trying to be hard." And I'm like, "I'm not trying to be hard, officer. I haven't done anything wrong. In fact, I'm only doing the right thing. And I could tell you right now that I care more about you and the reality of your spiritual being, of your livingness, than you do. And if I had 3 ways to say that, I would say this. I care about you so much that I would tell you that you should start thinking for yourself and actually start doing what you know is better for you, period. By 1, I would suggest you stop poisoning yourself by eating meat and all kinds of sugary crap that you put in your system. But you won't listen. So therefore, there's 1 way that I care more about you than yourself. 2, I would say stop watching, violent shows, violent sports, violent everything, competitive things that make you against others, violent and gory things that make you accept and numb to violence and morbidity. Because I care about you, I would suggest that, because I myself have given those things up. And you wouldn't listen, because you're used to it. Doesn't mean it's right, but you're used to it. And third of all, I would tell you to stop listening to the ideas of other people telling you what's right and wrong, even if it's government or world leaders, even if it's your local governor, even if it's what you were taught in school, even if it's your grandma and grandpa's old rules that your parents are following and now you're following along with. Those are just individuals' ideas of what should be. Nothing is super right or wrong in a spiritual sense, but in a physical sense, we have minds of our own, and someone should not tell you what to do if you are not harming other beings. If you are not harming other people, you are not doing anything wrong. So number 3 would be start thinking for yourself, and I suggest that because I care so much about you that I hate to see you believe that you're the act that you're playing by putting on a fucking pair of clothes. But you won't listen because you're that mixed up and lost. And people would think that I'm wrong. And they would think that I'm a criminal. And they would let me sit and rot in a jail cell just because I refuse to give anybody a penny. Because a penny means nothing. I would rather burn all the money in the world and say, now let's see who really matters. Now let's see who will really do something with the world and the environment we have. And will do something that means something. Not shoot people. Not fight. That is not going to answer anything. If you call it fighting for the rights of living people, that would be working hard in an effort to do the right thing. That wouldn't be fighting. Take the word fighting out. If you want to call it anything, call it work, or using your drive and focus and effort towards doing something. Put it that way. Don't say you have to fight for it. It's not a struggle. A struggle is in your head. Because you think it's hard, you think it's a struggle. If you do something and then you achieve it, then you go, oh, well, all that, the challenge and the hard work and effort was worth it. But if it doesn't seem worth it, you just call it a struggle. It's the only difference. All I want people to do is start really using their brains and stop giving up before they try. and letting other people tell them what to do. By using the cop as the example, I'm going to the extreme level of they're working for the government who has an extreme hold over them specifically. If they don't listen, they'll lose their job. If they lose their job, they'll lose their public status or their, who people think they are as an officer, which means nothing. It's a fake idea. It's a badge. There are people out there who have more morals than every cop on any force. More morals that would not harm somebody and follow along with some guidelines that say pull this guy over because he did this thing wrong, or he has this wrong thing, or he doesn't have this license, or he didn't get this permit. That is fucking bullshit. And for anybody to keep doing that, they're just stupid. They literally are stupid. And they don't want to hear that because it hurts their feelings. And it makes everybody before them or everybody who's done what they've been doing feel insulted. But they need to feel insulted to really take it inside and think, is that right or not? Because it is. I'm insulting the stupidity of humanity. I've played along with the game too. And I'm saying this in just personal senses lately because when I come from a spiritual point of view, people think I'm freaking being weird. And I understand why. But what am I supposed to do? What would you do? And you can't answer that because you're not trying to find your higher self, what they say. You're not trying to understand what God is. You just fucking read a book and believe it. That's dumb. I'm sorry, it's dumb. Belief is dumb. Knowing is one thing. When you say you believe in something, use it in the right context. Don't just say, I believe in something I don't see. Because I heard a story and I felt some kind of emotion about it, so it's gotta be so. Stop being a baby. Be a little braver because the truth isn't so clean and spotless. It's got some dirty stuff to it. And in a spiritual sense, none of it is here. But in a physical sense, it's all here to learn from and to make better. Make efforts. Do something about it. Don't just let yourself be controlled. It's about learning control. It's about learning discipline. It's about learning true love and compassion. Not dominance. And not control over others. Control over your own actions. And teaching others how to do that so you can work together and have cooperation. That's when control of each individual self turns into group cooperation. Especially when they focus their own separate control on something together. Boy, is that amazing when people can do that. We know that because it happens pretty well when one person can control and focus. But when other people can't around you, you're in a world full of people who think someone with focus is a nerd or a geek or a genius that is stupid. That's dumb. Because they're too smart for my boots, and we can't be around people like that anymore. We've got to step them up to our level, not stoop down to theirs or just allow them to go off in their own little tangent path forever. So, till next time, start using your mind. Clear your cobwebs and get it together for the future of mankind in general. God bless you.